My brother-in-law confessed feelings for me after I went wedding dress shopping with his fiancé. Advice needed. This just happened today and I'm using a throwaway because I promote my small business on my main and I want to be anonymous with this. Okay, I'm pretty overwhelmed, so I'll start with some background. I have been with my husband for 5 years. We've been married for 2. Since early on in the relationship, I've been great friends with his older brother, partially because I always wanted one. When he started dating a girl about 2 years ago, I went out of my way to make sure she knew she had a friend in me if she wanted. Since we're the only girls in the family, we're great friends now, and since they got engaged 3 months ago, I have been helping with wedding planning and was asked to be a bridesmaid. We went dress shopping today and had a blast. We went to brunch, had some mimosas, found the dress, and went back to their house to celebrate. I ended up alone in the kitchen with my brother-in-law a bit after being there, and he said he just had to tell me something before it kept eating at him. I was a little buzzed and confused, but was not at all expecting him to say what he did. I think I've had feelings for you for a few years and I've never been able to tell you and just needed to know if you ever felt the same. I completely froze and just shook my head. I told him that no, I have never thought about him in any way other than a friend and a brother, and I never would. Before he said anything else, I bolted back to his fiancée and the other girls there and very discreetly told her I got my period and wasn't feeling well and would have someone come get me and then come by soon for more wedding planning. She thought nothing of it and I called my best friend to come get me. She dropped me off at home. My husband is working right now and there is no question that I am going to tell him as soon as he gets home. But I just have no idea where to go from there. Do I tell his fiancée? Do I make him tell her? Do I leave it? Do I have my husband talk to him? Has anyone ever had something like this happen or have any advice? Anything is appreciated. Confession 2. My boyfriend overdosed. Today my boyfriend overdosed on fentanyl. He's been struggling with addiction for the past 5 years. This past November he had a very bad psychotic episode that most likely was drug-induced and it landed him at the psych ward. He was placed on a 5150 and was in the hospital for 16 days. After he got discharged he went to an inpatient rehab and only lasted until Christmas Day before he checked himself out. He decided outpatient was best for him and he continued to a new program and got put on Suboxone and it seemed to be working. He expressed he no longer had any cravings and that his body finally flushed it all out and he seemed in good spirits. My boyfriend stayed with his family after being discharged and during the time in the rehab. We agreed to meet on New Year's Eve. Later that night I would pick him up. The night prior, I had my friend come stay with me for the week. We all agreed on meeting up at my boyfriend's aunt's house so I could pick him up. The morning of the 31st he showed up to our house at 9 a.m. sharp unannounced. He said he had gotten into a nasty argument with his family and wanted to move back in with my and finish his rehabilitation where I live. The plan previously was for him to spend New Year's Eve and New Year's Day with me and return on the 2nd. So him showing up and telling me what happened caught me off guard. During his stay things seemed normal by our means. We celebrated New Year's at home and made a few cocktails and ordered out nothing crazy. Yesterday he had mentioned he knew he would relapse and that he just wished everyone laid off the pressure on him. He expressed he only wanted to pick up cocaine and no longer fentanyl. He wanted me to aid him in getting his substance and I immediately declined. We got into a slight argument about it and eventually he apologized and said it was just a moment of weakness for him. Today we woke up earlier because we had a few errands to attend to. We made breakfast and went to the gym and tidied up the house before leaving for the day. We went to the bank, Costco, and finally Target. While we were at Target he briefly disappeared. He mentioned earlier that he needed to use the bathroom and I didn't think much of it. After 10 minutes of waiting for him in the store I went to check the bathroom and he wasn't there. I assumed he had already left the bathroom and was walking around to find me. I walked around the whole store which took about 10 minutes. I went back to the bathroom and I found him. He told me that he went to go get something from on the aisles before going to the bathroom, which seemed like a load of bull. We finish out shopping, pay, and leave Target. He wanted to get Chipotle on the way home and I agreed. While on the way to Chipotle I noticed him nodding off. I immediately assumed he was high. He told me he was tired and just wanted to go home. We have been up since 5 a.m. and it was around 6:45 p.m. at that time, so I gave him the benefit of the doubt. We get to Chipotle and get out food and head home. Once we get home, I told my friend that I got his food and we all ate in the living room. Me and my friend both needed to use the bathroom, so we went, and while we were both using the bathroom, my boyfriend went onto the balcony. I have a utility closet on my balcony, and that's where he had always tended to use to get high and smoke his cigarettes. I get out of the bathroom and I noticed the light was on the balcony and I paid it no mind. I'm getting ready to eat the rest of my food when I get this heart-sinking feeling that something wasn't right. I don't know how to explain it, but I just felt like he wasn't okay. I ran to the bathroom to get Narcan just in case he was using and actually OD. I peep through the blinds on the door and I see him hunched over on the floor through the crack of the utility closet door. I go outside and I find him sitting down, crouched over, covered in his own vomit. He has vomit on his face, sweater, pants, and on the floor. I had the 2 Narcans on me and I immediately administered them to each nostril. I scream for my friend to call 911. I ran back inside my room to grab another 2 Narcans. I tell my friend to help me pull him out of the utility closet and lay him flat on the floor so I can perform CPR on him. I checked his pulse and he didn't have one and he wasn't breathing. I gave him another 2 Narcans and began giving him CPR. I was in shock and I couldn't even comprehend what was going on. I yelled for my friend to check the EMT's ETA. I'm giving him chest compression and he starts to throw up and it's coming out his nose as well. I laid him on his side so he wouldn't aspirate. He still didn't seem responsive. I continued doing CPR and he finally started to move and I could feel a pulse. He's gasping for air and saying he can't cough. I turn him onto his side so he can try to spit out anything stuck in his airway. Finally, the paramedics come and assess him. He still wasn't able to breathe. They had to administer more Narcan because he went unconscious again. They finally got him to breathe and he was more alert and they gave him oxygen. I had to call his mom and aunt to let them know he had overdosed. When I arrived at the hospital, his mom was already waiting for me. We went to see him in the room and he was in and out of consciousness but breathing. His oxygen levels were really low. They gave him oxygen and albuterol to help him breathe more efficiently. Right now he is still in the hospital and was admitted for further evaluation. I honestly don't know how to feel. I've been with my boyfriend for 9 years and this year we'll be celebrating our 10-year anniversary. He hasn't always been addicted to drugs. His addiction started 4 years ago. Throughout his whole time using, he never overdosed. We have had discussions in the past about my concerns and me wishing he could quit. He always said it would never happen to him and today he overdosed. I'll never be able to wipe the imagine of how I saw him today. Had I not gone out there when I did, he possibly wouldn't be alive right now. It hurts me to know that my partner is battling this strong addiction and there's not much I can do. Seeing what I saw today made me realize how valuable life truly is. I don't know how I'll ever be able to get past this. Once he gets discharged, he'll be moving in with his mom until further notice and he will be attending an inpatient rehab center. Confession 3. My dad jokes about having cameras in my room. I'm 17, girl. Recently my dad is joking about having small cameras in my room. They're probably just jokes, but it still makes me uncomfortable because it stays in the back of your head. I try to ignore it when he jokes about it. Recently, he said he was gonna watch me, in a joking way. When I told him I was going to bed, he also said he installed small Chinese cameras in my room. He started making jokes about it maybe 2 months ago and made jokes about it about 6 times. I don't understand why he's joking about this and it makes me uncomfortable because you still think about it. What should I do? Edit. I searched my room with a flashlight and couldn't find a hidden camera. I did find something else. I have some black foam on my walls for the sound of my instruments I play and I found a small perfect hole in the foam. Not sure what to think of this. I can't find any other holes on the other foam, but it could just be a coincidence. I will check his phone and iPad when I have the chance to check his search history to see if I can find anything about small cameras and look for apps.